Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to another Speedcast interview session. I am your host, Zoom CW, also known as Julio. Thank you so much for joining. Before we begin with our interview with Mark, the wonderful Mark Ashworth, just wanted to say that I did contemplate possibly canceling today's interviews, but due to the passing of Chadwick. I'm also, I'm devastated like everyone else. But in the spirit of Chadwick Boseman, he would have wanted us to continue. So that's why we're doing our interviews today because he would have wanted us to continue in his spirit. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I truly appreciate everyone's support. And today we have a very special guest. We have the multi-talented Mr. Mark Ashworth, who also plays Sir Justin, the Shining Knight. So let's go ahead and get him on the Speedcast. Hey,
Hey,
hey, Mark, how are you?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate your time
Oh, of
for
course.
joining my Speedcast today. How are you? How you doing? You're back east, right?
I'm in Atlanta on the
Oh,
East Coast.
nice.
Yeah. I'm in Georgia. I've been here now. I've lived in Georgia since '97. So yeah,
Oh,
living out in Stone Mountain.
oh, nice.
Yeah, I love it. It's just today it feels like it's got a nice little breeze in the air. Signs of the end of summer, which here in
Yeah,
Georgia, couldn't be more on time for me. It gets so hot here and muggy,
yeah.
like really heavy, thick weather, swampy almost.
Oh, wow.
And where
The
are you? Are you on the
humidity.
West Coast, Julio?
Yeah, I'm out here
Yeah,
in the LA area, so we've been experiencing a lot of hot, dry heat. A lot.
yeah,
It's just it's just it's. I mean, I'd rather have the dry heat, I guess, than
yeah,
that humidity because that humidity. But we've experienced some humidity, this year. It's been crazy. It's
yeah.
um,
Yes. I heard you talking about Chadwick just as I tuned in, right? Oh,
yeah.
heartbreaking.
He the fact that he continued to do the work, well, having this disease, unfortunately, it's just. I mean, it's commend. I mean, I respect them. I mean, I respected him already, but
Oh yeah,
it's just amazing, I mean, my heart goes out to his family, to his
yeah,
friends, and I truly loved all his work.
yeah,
I saw him in 42, and I mean, amazing actor, amazing
yeah.
soul.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to miss him. It was just, I think everybody got that kind of a feeling, unless you knew him and knew what he was going through, just kind of from left field, so to speak.
Yeah,
Ah, yeah, it's a tough loss. It is. It is a tough loss. Like you said, he did so much with the time that he had, being the artist that he was, and just kind of, what what he did in that short time, and the ripples that will be felt forevermore with that, is aspirational to so many
yeah.
people in so many regards. And yeah, it's truly sad.
When the news broke yesterday and my son told me, my heart just
Yeah,
fell,
yeah,
man. I was just like,
I can
it
believe
was
it.
like Kobe Bryant all over again for me.
Mm,
It
mm,
was just shock,
yeah,
shock. But
young, gifted, and black.
yeah,
Is that what he said at the awards? Uh,
yeah, he will always be
Forever.
remembered, and I mean, God bless his soul and may he rest in peace.
Amen.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey man, let me just before we begin, congratulations to you.
Hey, thank you, mate.
Great work on
Thank you.
Stargirl this season. Amazing work, Mark.
Thank you, brother.
Um, you are Sir Justin, man.
I
You are
know.
him.
Oh, what a thrill. What a thrill to tell this character's story. I'll just begin to. It feels like we're just kind of scraping away at it a little bit. But yeah, it's been a real joy, man. Wow.
Did you think when you guys were filming? Did you think that it was gonna get the reception that it has? Did you know this was something special when you guys were filming?
You know, I think whenever you get on a show like this, you know that it's going to be a certain type of special, just because DC. I mean, you know, it's DC. It's one of the superhero shows, and those are the ones that have the the fans to the nth degree. You know, I did not know. You know, when we started shooting. I didn't know the scope of who my character was or where he had been really until I actually had a chat with Jeff Johns, the creator. And, you know, it took working through the whole of the season and just seeing the little nuggets that would be revealed every other episode for me. To actually understand that this character was actually going to be brought into the spotlight in a certain way, you know, and emphasize a little bit about the Seven Soldiers of Victory when all that came out with the old picture that Part had, you know, and so it was truly kind of an onion for me, you know, just peeling back the layers on layers every other episode. You
Yeah.
get the script, and for me, because I was just a small ancillary character, you know, in a heavy loaded superhero world, you know, with the story that they were telling. I guess I don't know if I forgot where I was going with that. Where was I going?
Oh, did you think it was gonna be the success that when you were filming?
Yeah. No, not even
You
close,
had
mate.
no.
No.
I mean, the set. I mean, was it? I mean, you've been in some big movies, man. I mean,
Yeah,
you've been, in the Magnificent Seven,
yeah,
with Denzel and
sure.
Chris. I mean, you're soon to be in the Jungle Cruise movie with The Rock.
Yes,
Um,
got a
so
little slice of that.
you've been in some. I mean, Tom Hardy. Come on, Lawless.
Yes,
Um,
man.
you
That's another
know,
one of those films that I didn't know. I didn't know at the time how grand of a show that was going to be, or my role either. You know, only once you see the edit, you realize just how that scene in Lawless for me was like it was one of the scenes that was most memorable. You say that role in that film, then it's like, oh, I remember that. I definitely remember that moment. You know, and that was all down to the edit. When you're doing it on set, it doesn't feel as gory, but once it's all edited together and pieced up together, it's pretty brutal. I remember I was sitting in the cinema watching it with my mum when it premiered here in Atlanta, and I could feel her looking at me. She was kind of looking down the aisle at me there, like, "What are you doing?" We're just working. I was just work, mum. It's mum. It's work.
I've never seen this side of you. Is that what you
Yeah.
said?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Big time, man.
You were so wicked, man. You were so
Yeah.
wicked in that scene with Tom Hardy. That I mean, your range is brilliant because
Thank you.
you can go from that wicked character who's about to kill Tom Hardy to this Sir Justin role, which is such a noble individual, right? I mean, can you talk a little bit about your range?
You know, I love the characters that I've had the good fortune of being able to bring to life. You know, I think every actor that you talk to would love the opportunity to do something outside of their type. you know. So when I get these auditions that come in, I always start in a funny place anyway, because I get them in, and a lot of the times they don't say British, and so I have to use my own instincts on what these sides are, or what what the story is my accent going to take away from that, or could it maybe give me a little bit of a wild card element, you know, for this specific role. And so I love the opportunities that I'm offered. You know, it probably gives me a little wider range, you know, I think, than a lot of other actors here in Atlanta, just because of my natural dialect, you know. But it's great, man. I love it. You know, sometimes being a specific type can get you more auditions, or can get you more work. But at the same time, it's good to not feel like you have oh gosh, you go back to work and are doing the same roles, or the same kind of feel. You know, it's good to keep on pushing and keep exploring and finding these different roles, and I love it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, you were brilliant in this.
Cheers, man.
Um, how did this role come about to you? Was it like, did your agent call you? Did Jeff Johns call you? How did
So
this come about?
as usually what happens, Julio, is the will send you the agency will send you sides, and give you a slight I guess it's a it tells you the story, what the show is. Sometimes they don't even tell you that, in honesty. It could be code name, but this one, I think it was called Stargirl. And so I'll look on IMDb, and I'll do like a Google search, and I'll find out what I can about it, you know. And so I found out that this was Jeff Johns was helming. I think at that time that I got the sides. Only Luke Wilson and Breck were attached to the project,
Oh, wow.
and the sides were, like I was saying a minute ago, they were dummy sides. Although the project was real and they were calling it by Stargirl, they were dummy sides, and so they weren't actually used in the season. But the sides were that of a janitor, and they were looking the character breakdown. They were looking for somebody with beard, a big beard, and a British accent. And so I kind of hit those straight away. I was like, oh, this is great, you know. And so those ones always get you a little bit more excited, you know. You don't want to get too excited about it, but the fact that you 2 for 2 there for me. I had a big old beard at the time too. But it played into the character, who he was, and what had gone on for him to be. Usually, the size of the beard, it's something you get a lot of homeless man roles, you know, or things like that. And I remember the scene. I think the character that I read for was Connor, character called Connor. And he was a janitor. He was mopping the floors, and who I'm assuming was the Luke Wilson character jogs his memory enough to where he stops what he's doing and he looks at him, and he asks him about remembering. Do I remember you from somewhere? And it's not reciprocated. And then I start going through these wars that there's no way that I could have been in these wars. You know, I forget which world war it was, World War One maybe, or something just a long time ago. And I was like, yes. So just kind of, it played into the character of who Justin was in that scene, which was great by the writers. It played into his, you know, his damaged state of mind, perhaps his PTSD that he has. It plays into the confusion of who I was as Justin, and you know, by the end of it, there was a nice character arc where I just kind of get back to doing what I'm doing. I threw a button on there at the very end of it. I remember saying, "No running in the hallways." You know, a button when you've got an audition, you know, after the scene's done, there's just maybe one little thing. It's got to be quick, and could just be a look or whatever, just to button it up is what we say. But yeah, just no running in the hallways. It brought me back to the present and to where I was. So there was there was where I started with my character arch. I started here mopping, and then I'm changed by something that happens in the middle, and then I'm back to the other. So that's the character arch, up and down, you know. Yeah. So there was a nice character arch in there that I was grateful for. I tend to look for those when I get my sides, you know. You can have a character arch in one line, you know. So that always I always enjoy to play into those when I get reads.
And that's a credit to your, you know, to your amazing acting and your skill level, because like you said, when you read that role, you know, what it was, right? It was tailored for you. That was, you got excited.
Yeah.
But yet you went in there with that game face and you said, hey man, I got to nail this role.
Yeah.
And much credit to you for that, man,
well,
because
you
definitely did nail that role. Now, did you, I mean, a lot of your colleagues that I spoke to before, they, you know, they, when I asked them this question, they tend to say, yeah, I was very excited, but I had to stay in control because, you know, DC is a huge brand. Yeah. Now, going into this, did you know it was DC? You did know it was DC, correct?
Yeah. I did.
So, did you know the fandom that was gonna follow you with potentially landing this role?
No, I had no idea. I had no idea of that. That's something that as the episodes have gone on and the characters become more flushed out, and you're seeing the different clues from my past lives happening. Now I'm seeing a lot of the OG comic book lovers, you know, they're coming out and posting and drawing, and I had no idea. I've never been on a show like this before, with a role like this before. You know, I've done some Marvel stuff before, but usually when we get cast in the movies, then it's just the smaller roles that are there just to help move the story forward rather than being a part of the story. You know, so this for me was definitely a first in that regard, and yeah, the reception from the fans has been nothing short of amazing. It's so cool, man. So cool.
Hey man, we love you, man.
I love you, man. Thank you. Man.
Great work.
Cheers. It's a joy. It's a joy. You know, it's a joy just to work. But when you know that people are able to watch your work and that your work is being well received, it's just it's another thing that we get fulfillment from. You know, it can't be just about that, but it's definitely one of those things that help stock the fire for when you need it, because there are times that you need that just to remind yourself of how far you've come and you know what your journey is, the turnings that your journey's on. And so yeah, it's definitely something I hold dear.
I'm truly happy for you, Mark.
Thanks,
you know, you get a lot of, and I told Eric this as well, you know, you guys have been on so many projects, you guys have had, you know, a long career, and then to finally hit something like this, you know, that is a DC fandom, which is worldwide. I mean, I'm truly happy for you guys. Now, you mentioned earlier a bunch of nuggets that were set.
Thanks.
You know, little or Easter eggs, if you will, right?
Sure.
That were planted during the season. I got to ask you about that. You know, the episode, I believe it was Shift Part 1.
Yeah.
When you go back to your janitor office, we finally get to see a couple of things. I believe we see the Holy Grail on your desk.
Yeah.
We see Victory on your calendar.
Yeah.
And you also have a cap with Victory on it.
That's right.
And then we see the enchanted sword finally. Can you talk a little bit about that? Was that like Jeff Johns' ideas? Was that Leah Thompson's ideas? How did that come about?
So funny you should ask that. That was actually penned, and we actually did that work on the pilot episode. That was shot as the pilot. So we shot that very first episode out, and it was supposed to be there kind of as a reveal, but I think they decided to just kind of wait a little bit further on and hold that for a while, just to Probably just for nothing else, but for shits and giggles, probably for them, you know, to see all the speculation as to who is this guy. Some people were saying I was Courtney's dad. Some people said Rick's dad. You know, so many different ideas on who I was, but that I was somebody. You know, there's those little moments where I'm just brushing the camera and I give it a look, and people, they take notice, you know, especially when you're watching the episode 2 or 3 times. It's like you might have missed it the first time, but a lot of these fans, they get into them and they'll watch them a couple of times, and yeah, the speculation starts there. But that's how it was all peppered out throughout the season. But that was originally shot first episode. Yeah, that was so
That's
cool.
amazing.
That was so cool, wasn't it, man? That was great. And that was not me slinging that sword. That was my stunt double, Ben Akrigg, I think his name is. Yeah, he works at Medieval Times here in Atlanta. He's very talented stunt man. Yeah, and I was gutted, you know, because I'd been sitting around, and I think that shot in the gym where I come and I help save Courtney from Shiv. I'd been sitting around, and I think they shot that it was just amazing. That I think it was like on some kind of a swivel, the camera was, but the way that they were doing the stunts, it was around the stage. You have to watch it again. The choreography of the stunts in that scene is amazing. So they were working on that all day, and as you can imagine, you know, when you're doing pages and pages in a day, the stuff that I had was at the very end of the day. I was waiting around for a good while, and when I got called to set, I was basically just they did the move with the stunt guy, Ben, and then they did, I think it's called a Texas switch or something like that. I forget the technical term that they use, but they pause everything, and I run in there and I assume the position of the stuntman that he was in when he finished, and then we resume. So, and then I come around and I've got the line. What was it? It's all life until death. I think it was the very, very last line. And I came out there on set and I was like, man, I was hoping I was going to get to do that sword move. I was like, why are they having him do that? I could totally do that. Is she in danger? Does she think she's in danger from me? I'm sure that's not a real sword, blah, 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 going in my mind. But then when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay. Now I understand, because he looks badass when he does it.
Oh.
Man, he looks so good with it, you know? And I couldn't, I mean, I could have gotten close with it, but it would take, you know, they haven't got time to stop what they're doing out making the magic to come and teach me how to do that. They'll just do it and then have me in there at the end. And so, you know, it takes an army to get it to look well, but they sure did a great job.
They did. Wow,
Yeah.
it was amazing. You know, when I saw that scene, I nearly fell out of my chair because it was such an amazing scene. I also almost fell out of my chair when I saw those nuggets in your office. I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God,
that's awesome,
yes.
Yes.
So when you were growing up back in England, were you a fan of Knights of the Round Table? Were you a big fan of that?
I mean, I don't know that I was a fan of it. You know, the English history goes back, I think, Battle of Hastings is where we pretty much started in our history lessons in school. So 1066 goes back a long, long way. And with that comes like a inherent, I think, understanding or a visualization that's somewhere deep within of medieval times, even before medieval times, you know, building of castles and just that whole time period in the scope of history. I love it personally. I absolutely love history. But what was the question again?
Oh, were you a fan of the Knights of the Round Table, King Arthur?
I guess not necessarily a fan, but just keen on the history of it. You know, I do love the I don't know. It's almost when you think back on it, it's almost fantastical. You know, it's just that time period and Merlin and all that, and the sword and the stone, all that stuff is just kind of it's magical. It's magical fantasy, and I love it. And I guess I am a fan without being fanatical. I definitely appreciate it all.
Now, when you did the research for this role, you mentioned Merlin.
Yeah,
He's the one who gave you your indestructible suit and your enchanted sword,
yeah.
which can pretty much cut through anything. Was there anything else you read in regards to the origin story of your character that just blew your mind?
Yeah, I spoke with Jeff on the pilot episode, and he talked to me a little bit about Sir Justin, and his journey, who he was, where he'd come from, how he'd gotten there, and why he was here. And he talked about all that, and he gave it to me in such a way that enabled me to lay the groundworks of the character, and he talked to me about Don Quixote. Don Quixote was like Justin, I guess, in his present state, his spirit animal, whatever,
Yeah.
and so I did read a bit of that. I got into Don Quixote. I read as much of that as I could. You ever tried reading that novel?
I have not tried reading that now.
It's a toughie. It's probably about that thick.
Oh, wow.
That thick, yeah. And so it is, for me, it was a tough read. There's only some books that I can read and just stay in that are that big, one of which was called Pillars of the Earth, which is a wonderful book. Speaking of medieval times and such, building of cathedrals, it's really, really good. But yeah, I don't know. I've got off track again. I tend to waffle.
No worries.
Catch me waffling.
You're good, man. It's Saturday morning, man. Saturday afternoon over there for you.
Yeah, well, it's kind of morning. I've been working at a restaurant because film sets are shut down right now. So I'm working at a restaurant and I'm working late. So yeah, it feels like morning still. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Would you have liked? I know it was just season 1, but and I know that you signed a non-disclosure agreement, so you don't have to answer this question.
Okay.
The suit,
yes.
Your armor,
yeah,
your indestructible armor that Merlin bestowed upon you.
Yes.
Was there possibly armor on the set that we didn't get to see, that was possibly deleted? You don't have to answer. Once again,
sure.
Or if you could tell us or enlighten us on anything that you might have heard about the suit on set.
I'm not so much sure that I can't really talk about this at this point, because we've kind of gotten all the way through the season, and I was very reluctant. I've been doing podcasts since probably episode 7. And people have been asking about that, and I've been kind of reluctant to talk about it because it just wouldn't. It's hard to talk about things like that when you're in the middle of it. You don't want to give something away that would lessen somebody's enthusiasm for it. So I was just kind of holding all these cards to myself, But I can tell you that. In my very first meeting with Jeff, he talked about the suit, and he expressed his wishes for the suit being in season 1, but he decided, and it was probably one of those last minute calls, and maybe it was story the way that he wanted to go into the next season and start fleshing that out. But maybe he did mention something about season 2 at that point, along with the suit. So I see no reason to doubt what Mr. Johns said, especially based in where we went with the first season, because he was talking about everything that we talked about with Merlin and being stuck in a glacier and having a Pegasus and Excalibur, and I was just nodding my head, and I was like, "Great, this is amazing! What a fantastic comic!" Not even knowing that the elements that he was talking about were going to be brought out and talked about in the show. So, you know, I see no reason to believe that the suit of armor, the super suit, if you will, would not be a part of season 2. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Mark.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Mine's blown right now.
Yes,
and
man.
I know that folks at home that are watching, their minds are blown right now.
Cool.
And they're so excited, and so pumped up for next season. I gotta and thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Of course.
I gotta ask you about Dragon King.
Yeah.
He murdered your beloved Firebrand.
Yeah.
And your Squire Percival. Would you have liked to have seen your character taking care of business? The season finale between you and Dragon King.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that too was brought out in the farewell scene, wasn't it? I didn't slay the dragon, and I think there's a not necessarily there's a piece of me that wasn't there's a piece of me that was left out there on the battlefield, and something that I couldn't get back, I think, in that. It was bittersweet for me, the fact that present danger had been taken care of, but that I didn't have the hand in it. In fact, he had the upper hand in me, which was in contrast to the comics, right? Because in the comics, I'm the one that takes care of that. I'm the one that takes care of Dragon King. So it was definitely a moment that I missed. And yeah, I think the way that they addressed that was beautifully in that final scene, where Pat tells me it's okay, Justin, there will be other dragons. And at that, it's like, oh, woo, other dragons, yes.
Awesome scene, man. Awesome scene.
Wow.
I can't wait, man. I'm so excited.
I know. I think they're coming back to shoot here. I think October, if I'm not mistaken. So getting back to work here before the end of the year. All things going well, we'll be back to making this glorious content, and it'll be out next year.
Oh man, I can't wait, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we've watched it over and over again because it's such an amazing show, and to get a new season is just going to be heaven sent for me. I just, when we're watching here, we were literally, our jaws were dropping all the time that we were getting, those nuggets, and when your character would come out with the sword, and the enchanted sword, when we saw the picture of the 7 soldiers of victory, we were just in awe. So I just can't wait. I gotta ask you, you're so amazing with your dramatic roles, but you've also dabbed a little bit, I believe, in some comedy.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask, growing up, or back in England, what was your go-to favorite comedic show? Did you like Benny Hill, Monty Python, or Mr. Bean?
I love a bit of Mr. Bean. Yeah, I do. I think, British humor is just, it's brilliant. It's brilliant because I don't know. It's just, it can be so subtle and so dry, and I love that kind of humor. But then it can also be over the top and just kind of uncomfortable. I love The Royal Family. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I believe I have watched some few. Trying to recall. I believe I've seen some of it.
It's about a family. They sit around the TV all day, basically, and there's people that come in and out of the living room, but they're basically just always sitting there watching TV. ROYLE family. and it's brilliant. He's a Scouser, and it's just very, very dry. And for me, it's very relatable. I love those relatable comedies. I think Gavin and Stacey was good. Situational comedies like that. Faulty Towers was one of the classics. John Cleese, amazing. Monty Python stuff. Yeah. Benny Hill was something when he was out. I was probably about 10 or 11, and it was pretty
not for kids.
Yeah, it wasn't for kids.
Not for kids.
But boy, if I didn't want to watch it, all the women running around in the lingerie. And it was funny and comical and just kind of crazy. But as a young boy, I was like, I was just taking it in, and probably wasn't laughing at the things that the adults were laughing at, and that's it. Is comedy can span over different generations there, and be funny for different reasons. That's true comedy, right? Is everybody gets a little something different from it. That's why I love the one like the Royal Families, because there's so many characters in there that are just, somebody can relate to. You can look at them and say, oh, I know somebody like that. I know somebody like that. It's good stuff.
Would you like to see your character in season 2 maybe get some of those comedic punches in, like those subtle little comedic lines?
Yeah. I think there's definitely opportunities there. Why not? It could be to just kind of lighten the moments. That one moment that we got on the last episode where Mikey runs over Icicle, and man, that was brilliant. That was brilliant. Can I join the JSA? Because I guess I was the only one that was doing it, and Jeff was watching on the monitor in the back, and he was like, "Go ahead and tell him I." So I thought, oh, that's brilliant. Let's do it. Sometimes you just got to watch things on screen and see, and it's so good when the directors or Jeff in that specific case can just kind of help nudge things in a certain direction. I don't want to take away from a moment that they had planned for that scene, but when they see it happening, and that's the collaboration that I love in film and television is those moments. But yeah, I love a little bit of humor. I think we could definitely add some of that in there.
I would love to see it, man. I would definitely.
It was funny in the script reads, because everything that's going on, all the action, and then here I come along with my lines that come along. They always got a laugh in the table reads of the episodes. It's pretty funny, very abstract lines.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you. So moving forward, if you get some more of those lines, do you get any say? I mean, do you get can you do like any improv? Do you like doing the improv stuff?
I love it. I do. I love it. Yeah. And they are, they're good with it. I always, give them what the script is. And then if there's opportunity, if they've got what they need, then I will add it. But especially for my character, because I'll just come in and do one line. So you don't want to show up to set and then just do something completely different than what you've got. It's kind of be unprofessional in that way, I don't want to hold them up because they've got so much more stuff to shoot. But yes, and they are open to it as long as they've got what they need. Sometimes I like to add I don't know, lad or something like that, and I would do it in the script read too, the table reads, because then the writers are in the room too, and if they like it they can write it in, and if not, maybe it's a surprise on set. Sometimes I think it's good to have a surprise as long as we've got everything we need, and gives them something, rather than just being repetitive time after time. It keeps you freer too, and just I think you can find nuggets in there in those moments, but yeah, not going off the rails of where you need to go to tell the story, but maybe ad-libbing a little bit. I thoroughly enjoy it. I love to improv. I do some of that in my training, and you can add on to the story and embellish things, and always say yes with your improv.
Did you? I mean, I've talked to this one of my buddies recently, and I mentioned, bribing the writers, if you will. Maybe
Bribing him.
buying them some lunch, maybe some gift cards or what have you. Hey, I got an idea on improving my lines. Did you see any of that on the set,
No,
jokingly?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I didn't see any. I don't know. I think that those kind of things, it could maybe seem funny. It's almost like going into a restaurant and joking about the tip. It's just not funny. You might think it's funny if you're telling it to the waiter, but if I was the actor talking to the writer, he'd probably be like, ha ha,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it's like the patrons joking about the tip to the waiter's
Yeah.
face, and it's like, oh, that's really, really funny, man. Oh.
Yeah.
And
Don't mess with my tip. Don't
yeah.
mess with my tip,
Well, it's
dude.
just
Don't mess
like
with my tip.
whatever, this is my job. I'm just doing it. Just do your job, and you just eat your food, sir. Eat your food and like it. Eat your meat and potatoes.
Hey, Mark. So someone, Stargirl fan too, just said, I would love to see bloopers from Stargirl.
Oh, me too. And I know that they're out there. They're out there. Oh, I'm sure there's so many. I would love to see them too. That would be awesome. Like maybe hitting somebody unintentionally with a staff.
Oh,
I'm sure that's out there. As many tricks and stunts that they did with that. There's got to be.
thank you for that, Mark. So let's get to some. Well, before we get to the fan questions, I got to ask you, would you be down for some? And I don't know if you've ever ridden a horse before in your
Yeah.
life, but would you be down to riding Victory on
Oh
camera?
yeah. Oh, I'd love to. Yes. Yes, I would be down to the ground. I've ridden a horse before, and actually, I had started riding. My friend has got some horses down in Covington, and Scott, I go to his place, and we ride, and just kind of getting into the psyche of the horse, and just getting to be there with them, not even necessarily going to ride them, just to share their company. Scott always talked to me about when you pull up in your truck, he's like, the horses know that you're here. And the energy that you bring when you open the gate and you walk through the gate and you walk to the door as you pass their stable there. He said that's all something that the horses notice. The way that you treat them, how you groom them, it's also so important. And so, yeah, I'd started riding probably like 3 months before we started shooting pretty regularly, before I'd even booked it, actually.
Oh,
And,
wow.
I think it's something that, as an actor, it's something that I could have on my resume. It's just one of those things that if you have the opportunity to do something like that, it looks good on your resume. So did it. And, it came in useful for another project that I did. And I see no reason as to why it wouldn't put me in the comfortable range of getting on top of Victory and riding through the clouds, if you will.
That would be so awesome.
Oh, man. Yes.
I can't wait to see you riding Victory and with your sword and your armor and,
yeah.
kicking some ass. Excuse my French.
No. I speak French too. I know that. Yeah.
So let's get to some fan questions. If you could play any other DC character, who would it be and why?
Oh, man. I'd like to play Lex Luthor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think I'd like to
Good
play
choice.
Lex Luthor one day. He's a villain that is relatable. His hungers are palpable. His thirst for success is something that could be relatable. And I love villains. I think that villains just have so much appeal to me. and I don't know why that is, because I'm not a villain. I think it probably is, and it gives me the opportunity to step into the shoes and play a character that I am not. But I love a bit of Lex Luthor, yeah, and that would probably mean I'd be fighting up against Superman too, that would be great.
That would be awesome, man.
Uh-huh.
Lex Luthor is a great choice.
Oh yeah,
That guy he's he's got a backup plan for a backup plan for a backup plan. He's always
yeah,
like 20 steps ahead of you.
yeah,
Just when you think you got the guy, he finds a way out, right? Or
yeah,
he's always got something in his back pocket.
yeah,
To me, him and the Joker are just
yeah.
amazing villains.
Oh yeah.
Great answer. Another fan wants to know, oh, and I've already asked you this, but they're really excited about the Shining armor. Uh, they want to see the Shining armor like now. um, but another fan wants to know, how does it feel to be part of Stargirl?
It's a dream come true. It really is a dream come true. You know, we put so much work into the craft, and you know, any day on set on any show is a real blessing. But to be a part of a show like this, from DC, in the superhero world, and to have a role that had me coming back for I think 8 or 9 episodes throughout the season this year, and the prospects of where it can go, and just the history of the character. I mean, is just amazing. You know, fighting alongside Genghis Khan and Winston Churchill's bodyguard, and the history there is just deep, thick. It oozes, and so it's an absolute thrill to be able to tell a story like this within a story like Stargirl. I'm overjoyed. It's been a real blessing for me.
And we're overjoyed for you to be in this. We are so happy that you are, in this successful, Stargirl TV series or DC Universe series or CW series, and we are so much looking forward to you, Mark, and next season. We're looking forward to Sir Justin, the Shining Knight. You've just been amazing, man, and kudos to you. Kudos to the entire cast.
I know they did amazing.
And crew. You guys have just been outstanding, brilliant.
I can't wait to see where it goes, because I just can't wait to see what's happening, and how the story moves on from where we left it. You know, is it going to go back into the school? With Tigress and Sportsmaster still out there on the large, on the lam, because we know who they are now. You know, and I'm the possibilities are endless. And I know they were writing towards the end of the season. James Robinson and Jeff Johns, they were in the writers' room for season 2, way back then, before we even before it had gone through post, and before the season had been completed even, and they were working away and just getting everything back on track for season 2 already. So It's gonna be good, man. It's gonna be good. Woo!
I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Thank you so much for those nuggets. Is there something, Mark, that you would like to tell your fans out there?
I'm so grateful for everybody. I love you guys. The way that you've received the show has just blown us all away. We're all so proud to be on the show like this, and just look forward to making more memories, and hopefully easing people's burdens, and making life having something to look forward to in what seems to be very tumultuous and scary and unprecedented times that we're living through right now. Something to look forward to, something to grab a hold of. And so I'd like to send my love to everybody that's been tuning in. And I could speak, I know, on behalf of all the cast and crew. Thank you sincerely for everything. All the fan mail that I've been getting, and the pictures, it's just, man, it blows me away, man. So many talented people out here you know, everybody that does like what you do here, creating a platform for you. You're a wonderful mediator between the world of comics and the real life elements that we're bringing to them to help people, you know. And so thanks to you, thank you to all these different people on Instagram here and Twitter that are spreading the love and posting about us and keeping us relevant. It's just amazing, man. So grateful. Thank you.
Very well said. Thank you
Yeah.
so
Well, of
much.
course, mate.
Man, I can't wait to, I tell this to your colleagues, and I sincerely mean this from the bottom of my heart. I'm truly happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm so happy for your success, and I can't wait to, possibly meet you in
I
person.
look forward to that.
At a convention, at a comic book
Yeah.
convention. Once this pandemic is over, I look forward to it. And thank you so much for joining my Speedcast. It was an honor and a privilege.
Oh, man.
And I wish you much success in the future.
Thank you,
And
brother.
maybe you could come back in the future, after season 2, and we could talk a little bit more.
Yes, I look forward to that, my friend. All love. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too. Thank you so much, Mark. God
Cheers,
bless.
pal.
Take care.
God bless you, brother. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.